VR is proving to be beneficial when it comes to having difficult conversations in the workplace. Veronica comes here with me for Tech Republic, and we all know, Veronica, I think what it feels like, that, nervous tension you get when you have to have a difficult conversation with someone at work, or maybe for a manager who's having to fire someone, or any of these scenarios. So I think it's really interesting that virtual reality is actually stepping in as a way to help kind of bridge the gap there for people. Talk about this new study and what they found.
So PwC has this training class about inclusive leadership that everybody has to take. And I think they developed the class in 2018, and they learned it's their emerging technology lab saw this virtual reality demo, and that was about these sort of difficult conversations at work. And so they decided they would take this existing training about inclusive leadership and create an e-learning version and also a virtual reality version. So I think they had like 1,600 people across the country, across the states. And so they had 3 groups. Each one was assigned the training in a different format, and they did a pre-assessment and a post-assessment, and then a follow-up 30 days later to see, what did you learn? Did it stick with you? What did you think? And so it was they have this report out called The Effectiveness of Virtual Reality Soft Skills Training in the Enterprise. And it's basically how they did this test. And so what they realized was that the virtual reality training was faster, about 4 times faster than the other 2 formats. They also found that people felt much more confident about using these skills that they had learned. So when you think about, like, what if someone makes a racist comment, and what do you do? Or what if you have this sort of unconscious bias that, like, you don't realize that you're perpetuating a stereotype, or just saying something that's just kind of might offend people and you don't really realize it. So it was a way to practice those things. And so I talked to the executive sponsor for the project. His name was Scott Likens, and he leads the Emerging Technology Lab. And he was saying that because this training is immersive, you're paying attention, right? If you have this headset on, you're not, like, checking your email or talking to your neighbor or getting distracted. You're not multitasking, you're really training. And that's what helps people listen and remember and then practice. There's some AI wrapped into the training, and so it can listen to what you're saying and then provide you dynamic feedback. So you might make one comment and get certain kind of feedback, and I might make a different comment and get a different type of feedback. So it's really designed to help the individual with whatever skill they're trying to develop.
Yeah, and I found in your article, when you talked about it, I thought it was really interesting. One of the things that they highlighted was that 75% of those reported experiencing a wake-up call, about their own behavior. So it is interesting to see how, when you can have a dress rehearsal of sorts, what you actually may say or how you may present something.
Yeah, Scott was saying that PwC has also been using this with clients.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it's amazing how different like a virtual reality experience with colleagues is compared to, like, a Zoom call. He said, again, people are focused, people are paying attention, because it's so immersive. You're in this different environment. You're not, like, sitting at your kitchen table and waiting for the call to be over. You're paying attention and being really engaged. So he was really excited to release this report, because he felt like the content had caught up with the technology. So you're not just killing aliens with your gestures and your VR headset, you're learning how to have these business conversations.
Yeah, some real world things that we have to deal with. What about recommendations that they might have made for companies that are looking to invest or develop a VR training program? I mean, obviously there's a cost involved with the hardware and all of that kind of stuff.
And they did look at cost as part of their study. Did it work, and how much did it cost? Because obviously they built this from scratch, and it took them about a year to develop the VR course and roll it out, and then figure out, measure the impact. And the downside to virtual reality training courses is that it costs about 47% more to develop than classroom training. But if you have thousands of employees, the more people you can train, the better ROI you get, obviously. And so his advice for people who are thinking about rolling this out at their own companies was to build a cross-functional team. You need HR, you need IT, you need designers, like 3D designers. That's part of the reason it's more expensive, because, for e-learning, it's almost a PowerPoint, right? And for a teacher, you have the teacher's time and expense, but you don't have to build complicated graphics or write scripts or things like that. So that was part of the extra cost. And then he also said, you really have to incorporate VR as one platform. It's not good for everything. It's good for that practicing sort of soft skills and having difficult conversations. But he said, e-learning is really good if you're trying to figure out a new piece of software, and classroom training is really good for collaboration or discussion. So you need a hybrid team. Make sure that it's the right fit for the subject you're training people on. And then his final piece of advice was to create tools and templates so that your cost of creating the course goes down over time.
All right, some great advice there, Veronica. And I know, of course, on Tech Republic, we have a great deal of information about VR in general, and many articles and videos that we've done over time. And this one specifically up, of course, on Tech Republic. So we hope that all of you will check it out there, and we appreciate you watching.